Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Higher Self Expo. Today, we have another incredible interview with our featured speaker, Kathleen Zemansky. And we're just going to meet her, talk a little bit about her, have her introduce herself, and talk a little bit about what she's going to be presenting at the conference. I'm really excited to get started with that. Before we begin, quickly, let me just talk a little bit about Kathleen's work. She's been a business Feng Shui master since 2000, dedicated to helping conscious businesses and individuals harness the power of classical Feng Shui and Chinese metaphysics to optimize success in business and life. She specializes in business Feng Shui, astrology, and favorable timing. After traveling the world, Kathleen obtained several advanced degrees in classic Feng Shui and Chinese metaphysics from top-level teachers. She has studied and taught in the United States, Malaysia, China, Tibet, India, and England. Learn more about her at her website at 5elementsgroup.com. And you'll see her link below that you can go ahead and visit her website and learn a little bit about her and what she does. So without further ado, Kathleen, welcome. I am so excited to have you. I personally have worked with Kathleen. She is incredible. And if you can just talk a little bit about yourself, Kathleen.
Sure. Well, hello, Geraldine, and thank you so much for inviting me for this interview today. I'm very excited, very, very excited. We are in perfect timing to really start looking at, what's happening around the world. And so this is something that I actually was drawn to in my own personal life, if you will. And that goes back several years, decades, actually, that I was actually doing some sailing around the world. And I was in my sort of late 20s is when I kind of took this adventurous journey of sailing around the world. And what I realized, what unbeknownst to me, is I was actually studying Feng Shui. And really what you're studying is the energies of the land and how a person either is attracted to a certain energetics in land, and or how you would be repelling and really deflecting back some of the positive energies of the land. And each and every place that I went, one of the things that I was starting to notice is, building materials and why people would build on a particular part of, an island, because we were doing a lot of island hopping at the time as we were sailing around. But each and every region had its own attributes and why the people either thrived or why the people were in deprivation, if you will. So, I had no idea that this is what I was going to be doing once I, came back to the United States and kind of set up my business. And I really was looking at my own life on how I personally could start really tapping into the best energetics possible. And so I've lived all over the United States. I'm currently living in the state of California, but I have lived in several different places. And each place that you live, if you're someone like me who has either lived internationally, which I have, or lived in your own country, but lived in different areas of your region, maybe even within your own town, you're going to find that the energetics of the space are quite interesting as far as what it can do for you. So what I want to really impress upon you, and what I want to talk about at this conference, is that there's a very Feng Shui is very formulaic, by the way. Now, I practice classical Feng Shui, and I want to be very clear about that. There's a lot of different ways in looking at space. There's indigenous people from around the world have always tapped into, where can I find water? Where can I find food? Where can I get shelter? And this has happened since the beginning of time, since the cave dwellers. That's why they were living in caves, because it wasn't very safe to be out in the open. And so really what I practice is classical Feng Shui, which is very formulaic, which really gets into the science of, we really understand why there is a repeatable pattern and why that certain buildings are going to behave a certain way because it's based on a compass direction. But here's something that's very important as well, you guys, is you really need to look at your birth chart And your birth chart is very revealing on whether or not you are actually in one of those spaces that I just referred to earlier. Are you attracting what you want to bring in your life, or are you repelling what you want to bring into your life? And your space can be a clear indication of that. Now, you could accidentally trigger some, I'm going to say, challenging energy, which then you can start seeing some challenges in your life. Now, let's face it, we are in a time frame. I'm going to go back to 2020, where we had the beginning of a new cycle. There were actually several new cycles, not only a new decade, but astrologically speaking, we are in the Chinese astrology construct. It was the metal rat. And it was a very cold, it was very, I talked about at my annual event that I have every year where I give my predictions and things like that. I talked about, and I said to my mostly Western clientele that we're going to be wearing masks. There's going to be a super virus that is going to be happening. Now, I had my event January the 19th of 2020, and we didn't realize until February we were kind of in a very big global pandemic. They were calling it an epidemic at the time, but then it became a pandemic. And people at my event, who are, again, mostly Westerners, it was the last live event that I had, people that have been following me for years said, Kathleen, there is no way I'm going to be wearing a face mask. That we just don't do that in the Western world. It was like, okay, I'm just telling you what the stars are telling me. So then we're going into this year. Now, this year is a yin metal ox year, and it's very contaminated. We've got contaminated earth. So your feng shui is going to be very, very, very important. So what I am going to be talking about at the expo is person, space, time, and universe. So the person is going to be your astrology. And I do, of course, I read other types of astrology, but I do focus on business. I believe that even though I have big Silicon Valley titans as clients, my joy really is working with entrepreneurs and small businesses, because I think they are the backbone of global economy. So it's really important to know what's happening and what's trending in your chart. And it's all, again, very repeatable. We know since the beginning of these systems of thousands of years of empirical data that when certain things happen, then you can expect a certain outcome. So we know, certain animals are going to behave in a certain way. We look at an entire birth chart of year, month, day, and hour, and then different cycles that you'll be going into. But here's the thing, that is like just one piece of it. Then you take the feng shui and look at this. And then I also have a timing system, which a lot of people call the feng shui calendar. I call it the Timblzr, and I'm going to tell you about that in just a moment. And then there's another piece that's a very spiritual piece, if you will. Now, I'm not talking about religion, and it really is just tapping into your highest good of using, again, your space, your body as the antenna, because you are a receptor of energy, just like your building, whether it be office or home. And a lot of people have transitioned to a home office, and it looks like many people are going to stay with that home office because the convenience and the carbon footprint. There's just a plethora of reasons why people are going to continue to work from home. Family, building and things like that. We're finding that is something, even though that was a stressor for many people, but really, again, setting up your home office space so that you can be attracting those right clients and contracts and things like that. So
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, and so the work that you do, I mean, you created this software, literally, you designed it. And this is something that's really impressive to me, that you were able to design such an incredible intellectual property that actually works and creates a calendar that people can actually utilize on their daily basis in order to know how to act, when to make choices. And this affects everything from health to your business to how you're, handling yourself spiritually.
Right.
So, yeah, that's very interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about the software?
Sure. Yeah, I'll tell you the little micro story behind it, which is actually a much bigger story, but I'll make it brief. I was actually at a meditation retreat, and it was next year, in the year of the water tighter. It was actually 12 years ago that I created this system. So because I studied in Asian countries, I had to learn. I'm not fluent in Chinese, but my vernacular, I needed to learn Chinese and had to write in Chinese. But when I would present this to my clients, they'd be like, oh my gosh, that is just totally overwhelming. So I don't expect my clients to learn my craft, just like anyone else. Like, I don't know, an acupuncturist or a bookkeeper or a project manager or authors or, lawyers. These are some of my clients. These are some of the type of people that I work with. They don't expect me to learn the law or learn how to do self acupuncture or all of those kinds of things. I go to those services to reap the benefits of it, right? Mm-hmm. So this is what I have done for my clients. I really kind of looked at it and I got a download like you would not believe. It was just amazing. And the more the more you work with this energy, the more the universe is going to respond in answer to your call. Mm-hmm. The universe is there listening. You just have to ask, hey, I'm ready for this. And then it's going to start downloading to you. So I got this download that was an amazing way of it. It really, it was like a megaphone. Use the calendar, Kathleen. So it was like, what are you talking? So it was just like, tell me more. And so really what it's designed right now is very much how I envisioned it. And then, but really at that time, it was like, oh, I wanted to leave the silent retreat and just run to an office supply store and buy a big, poster, those, whiteboard kind of like, you can write in different things. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to do this calendar for myself. And after I left the retreat and went to the office supply store, it's like, wait a minute. I have a couple of clients that I know would love this personalized version of it, not just the calendar, which you can find a lot of Chinese calendars in the marketplace, but personalized, they're not out there. Right. So for a while it was still, a manual. I would have classes where we would personalize. It was a whole weekend thing. And then it turned into a year-long program and all of that. And then I got connected with a developer and a programmer who was very interested in this genius, if you will, of translating this from a very cryptid, and you would need to be a practitioner to understand, to standard business English. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I did, is I took that and really transformed it into that. And then I was like, why just have a standard version? Let's just make it personalized for every user. And so can I offer this audience a free version of it for 30? There's no credit card required or anything like that. Can I offer that to them right now?
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Go ahead and let them know. I mean, I think the software's amazing. Please go ahead.
All right. So I'm willing to give you a 30-day free trial, and I want you to start using it today. I don't want you to wait on this, because this is something that can transform your life right from day one. Mm-hmm. So no day is perfect, but some days are going to be better than others. So what you're going to want to understand is if I've got like an important phone call, I need to make I need to create a proposal and send it. I need to meet with an important client, use the good juicy times, because the universe is responding to you. This is person, space, time, universe. So you're actually using the energetics of the day. And here's the thing, you may not be able to change much about your space because you're locked into a lease or something like that. You can't change your astrology. You're born, you're living it. You're living your dream or not. But what you can do is you can choose a good day and time to benefit you. So what you need to do is go to free 30 timetrial.com. So it's free 30timetrial.com. and maybe if you could put that URL in the chat or something, if that's possible, then you can go ahead and just, click on that link and then fill out your information, and you'll get a 30-day trial. Now, I may be switching this up by the time the conference happens.
Mm-hmm.
We may end up asking for a credit card for, just to get you signed up.
So,
but right now, it's no credit card required.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with our viewers, Kathleen. I'm sure they're going to be excited to check that out. And just briefly, do you want to quickly do an overview on what you're going to be talking about?
Sure.
At the conference.
So even though it is going to be a brief time, because we're going to be taking literally thousands of years of technology, and we're going to really bring it down to just some quick salient points. So I am going to be talking about person, space, time, and universe. And so really what I'd like to talk about and is to really talk about the importance of using this holistic system. Yeah, we could take one piece and dissect it out, but unless you look at it from a holistic approach, it really is going to give you only a piece of the pie. Right now, people need help. And we're not going to get out of this unfortunate vibration for quite some time. I think we're going to go through all of this year. We're seeing it. I'm seeing it across the news, global as well as here in the US, if you're located in the US, that we're still going to be dealing with this pandemic. Then we're going to be going into next year as well. So we need some tools to help you get out of your own way. I'm even going to put that to help you really start getting back into a way of a new norm. Mm-hmm. I think it's not realistic for people to think we're going back to where everything was, because there's just been too many changes of what has happened. So I think what we really need to do is to start looking at, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a brief recap of where we're at right now in astrologically. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the feng shui of the space. And so I'll be giving some tools out so people will be able to kind of do a DIY, quickly on their space, so they can get into the most vibrant area of their space, whether it be a room or a big palatial house. It really doesn't matter. It's get into the good and avoid the negative energy. That is amazing. Rule number one. And then number two, I'm going to probably give out a couple of good dates to help trigger the space. And then I want to leave, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get into the universal gateway, which is Qi Dun Jia in Chinese, if people are familiar with that term. But basically, again, it's really tapping into the universal intelligence to help you make strong decisions at the right time.
Amazing, Kathleen. We are so excited. I can't wait to. I have so many questions about how Feng Shui is needed for health, for vitality, all these things. So I can't wait to learn about that at the conference. So thank you so much. And please check out Kathleen's links. We're going to put them down below. And if you guys have any questions, go ahead and have them. You can submit them on the chat below and share. And be sure to subscribe and get your tickets for the Higher Self Expo, because we have some incredible information. So, Kathleen, did you have something?
Yeah, I do want to make a little mini offer to get an astrology reading with me. If we talked about this before. Is that okay to talk about that right now?
Yeah, I just have to be kind of quick. Go ahead.
Okay. So one of the things we talked about was I'm going to make an offer to people. Normally I do a 60-minute reading for $850 US, and I am going to open up 50 slots. They must be booked and paid for and redeemed. They must be booked by the 16th, because I'm not making this offer at the expo, but they must be redeemed by July 31st. And I'm going to do an $850 reading, but I'm going to do it for $250. So here's what you have to do, because my admin's on vacation right now. You're going to have to email me at Kathleen, Kathleen, at 5elementsgroup.com. That's numeral 5elementsgroup.com. And then you need to put in the subject line. This is very important. Higher Self Expo Astro 250. Okay, we'll put this in the comments below once we sign off. So thank you very much, Geraldine. Really
amazing. That's so exciting. What a generous gift. And I'm definitely going to tell my friends about that because I've had a reading with you and it was amazing, mind-blowing actually.
Thank you.
So Kathleen, thank you so much. And to everyone, please do subscribe to the channel Higher Self Expo and share with your friends. And we'll see you soon. See you.